All right, thank you. So I'm going to extract you from Western Australia and I'm going to throw you up to Canada. And we're going to talk about what's happening up there with lithium. So with GT1, we're looking to define the resources that we got. So this isn't grassroots exploration, this is a drill out. We've got numerous projects, we've known LCT spodumene-based pegmatites, and that's what we're drilling out. So we've got 2 projects on the go, which I'll talk about. GT1, you know, we're a West Australian-based company. We've moved everyone over to Canada, apart from myself. And what we're looking to do is build a vertically integrated business. So that's taking it all the way from exploration into mining, create a concentrate, and then convert that into a hydroxide. Now to do that, that's a big order. So we're not going to do that alone. So we're going to partner. And I'll talk about some of the partners that have joined us already. And then unlock the value. So the way you do that, I mean, the prices for spodumene concentrate are astronomical at the moment. But if you have a look at the downstream chemicals like carbonate and hydroxide, they're even higher. So that's why we're looking to unlock the value by going all the way. So just a snapshot of the business. You know, market cap sitting there at 280 million. We've got cash in the bank, which is great, so we're not having to go out and rattle the tin for more cash. And just with the share registry, there's a big ticket item there. So 60% is held by the major funds, and the other 40% is held by the partners of the business. So that's why you don't really see the share price in a bit of a yo-yo scenario going up and down, because we're looking to take this, all of us are going long on this project and looking to take this into production. And obviously we've got strong brokerage research with Canaccord and Bell. So the projects. So not only is it Canada, we're really focusing in at the moment on Ontario. So we've got 2 main projects, which are called Seymour over to the east and Root over to the west. So we're currently drilling on those projects. We've already got 10 million tonnes at Seymour. We've got the other projects coming online. We've got good exploration targets. We've got good grades. So we're well on the way in that vertical integration. So like every good business, you need a good team. So in the chair, you've got John Young. So co-founded Pilbara Minerals. I mean, so he's got the experience of going all the way from exploration into mining. So having John in the chair has been great for the business and really directing us to making sure we do the right things as we go along. Cameron Henry. So he founded Primero. Primero build lithium processing plants all around the world. So already we've got the processing team in-house. And then Pat Murphy, so AMCI, they take projects from exploration and fund them all the way into production. So there's a major part of our funding, and they're introducing partners into the project that will focus on that vertical integration. Then Rob Longley, known Rob for many years now, a highly experienced geologist, and he's on the board and directing us as well from the geological perspective. Then on the ground, you've got myself. I started life as a geo, worked my way up the ranks, you know, in WA, kicking rocks in the gold mines, iron ore, nickel. And then I worked into technical services and then as a mine manager. So I guess from my experience, I have experience of taking projects all the way into production, so exploration and into mining. And then Matt Herbert, who's just flown in from Canada, literally yesterday. So Matt's in the crowd there. So Matt also, significant experience of taking projects all the way into production, you know, ex-Rio Tinto, ex-FMG. So real high-class experience within the team. So partners, how are we going to get there? So you need to process the material that you're going to mine. So Primero, already 6.5% of the business. Lithium Americas Corp, 5.2%. So they're one of the biggest lithium players in North America. And then AMCI, 10%. They're all going long on the project, and they will stay long. Now, if you look on the right-hand side there, this is our next investment partner. So we can go and mine. We can create a concentrate with Primero, but then there's that downstream chemical processing. That is the next partner that will come in to GT1, and we're well down that path already because there's so much hive of activity going on in North America right now. There's a pretty exhaustive list of people that are prepared to jump on board. So plan on a page. What would this look like? So right in the middle there, made in Ontario. So the Ontario government, they're pushing hard to create a lithium supply chain in country and within Ontario. So how will we marry into that long-term plan? Well, we'll start off on the right-hand side with our eastern hubs, which is Seymour. We'll get that into production, we'll create a concentrate, and then we may be selling into a concentrate market for a year or two. But speaking to the downstream converters, they believe they can get a converter up and running as soon as possible, as soon as we create a spodumene concentrate. So that may go straight into a converter and come out as a lithium hydroxide. Whilst that's going on, we're not going to hold back. We're drilling out all of our projects. So that's where the Western Hub comes online, and they will feed into a central converter that is scalable. So we're not going to go and try and build the biggest converter in North America. We're going to start off around the 20 to 25,000 tonnes. And if you work the numbers on 25,000 tonnes and what the price of hydroxide is at the moment, that's a big number. And then we can scale up. We can put additional trains in. When I say additional trains, it means you can add another train of conversion into the current plant that you have. So that's the plan on the page. Right, so what makes us different? How can we get into production as soon as possible? Well, one thing we've been quite diligent on is we sit within an infrastructure corridor right there that sits around Thunder Bay. So Thunder Bay is our hub. That's where we got our offices. That's where we got all of our teams. They venture out. We then built camps on site. So we have a 30-man camp at Seymour and we have a 30-man camp at Root. And they rotate through on rosters. So they're pretty much on a 2-and-2 roster. On each site, we've got 2 rigs each, and they're working 24/7. So you can see we're really pumping out the meters and proving up the resources. Now, all around us are those little blue stars. They are hydro plants. All of Ontario is powered by green, renewable energy. Now, that is a massive ticket item for where we're trying to achieve a clean, green lithium. Now, there's lots of places that don't have this type of power, but Thunder Bay, that's all it has. So it's a pre-made green energy source for us. So that's why Thunder Bay has become so critical. It's a 30-minute drive to the United States. We're right in that corridor. We have the roads already built. We've got the power there. We have the transcontinental railway line goes through our tenement. So you can just see everything's lining up quite nicely. And once we do create that hydroxide, it's going to have to go to where the people make the batteries. Well, they're already building the battery plants just in the southern part of Toronto. We're calling that the electric corridor. So you've got the likes of GM, Ford, Tesla, and there's a few others in there, and they're building their battery plants and their vehicles there right now. So they're screaming out for feed, and that's where GT1 comes to the forefront, so first to market. Like anything, why Ontario? You know, we have a really good workforce. So when you fly into Thunder Bay, there's universities, schools, regional hospitals, there's obviously the power, there's the workforce there. You know, we're engaging with the community there. So not only with the Indigenous and First Nation groups, but everyone else that works in that area. So we're really building what will be, I guess, a lithium supply chain where all Ontarians will get involved in this. And then also quite active on the sponsorship side as well. You know, there's stuff there like the soup kitchens, you know, the women's broom ball. So there's a whole host of things that we're doing right now with the community. And like anything, you know, you can have a great board, but you need someone to execute the plan. So right there in Thunder Bay, you know, we've got Nathan Sims, born and bred Thunder Bay, he's the exploration manager. He's running all the rigs. Andrea Johnston, she lives out there now. So she's managing all the ESG space. Because at the end of the day, you're going out there, and if someone rocked up into your backyard and said, I'm going to start a mine, you know, the first thing you're going to say is, well, what's in it for me? So that's why you have to have all that engagement, ESG, going out to the First Nation and Indigenous groups and say, look, you know, there's jobs, there's funding, royalties, there's a whole host of things where you can be engaged in this project. And then Daryl Boyd. So Daryl Boyd's heading up the permitting and processing team. So what that is, in Ontario, you know, there's the Sudbury mines. There's over 100 years worth of mining right there. So the mines department's very developed on the stage process of how to get an operation up and running. So Daryl Boyd heads up the permitting team, so we're expediting that process as well. So last 12 months, you know, we've only been listed for 12 months. This has been a whirlwind. We raised 24 million. We went straight up there, started drilling. We built camps. We expanded our land holding from 10,000 hectares to 40,000 hectares. There's some prime lithium real estate up there right now. We cap raised for 55 million. We took on Lithium Americas Corp. We commenced our metallurgical test work. You know, we doubled our resource straight away. We've built another camp at Root. Yeah, this is, we're moving very fast, but we're doing that because we want to be first to market. So Seymour, the flagship, we've already doubled the resource there. We just had a recent discovery, which we're calling Blue Bear. Really good results from the surface. So we're starting to drill additional holes down dip and along strike to find out the sheer size of this. And throughout the Seymour complex, there's other projects that we're drilling right now with the 2 drill rigs. We've actually just splintered one off. They're doing the sterilisation drilling for where we're going to put the processing plant and where the other facilities are going to go. So you can see how advanced we are. And there's Blue Bear. So one thing we did, you know, we invested our time in additional geophysics and additional geochemistry to locate pegmatites under surface cover. So they're the ones that you don't see because there's soil cover. So once again, our exploration models worked, and we located Blue Bear, which is high grade from the surface. Now, taking you 200 k's over to the west, this is the second project that we kick off. This is the second asset. Yesterday, I sent out some drill results, up to 4% lithium content within the core. Now, when we looked at this project, there was historical data there. It said there was multiple pegmatites, relatively thin, on an east-west strike. We've gone in there with 2 rigs. We've already drilled over 40 holes in the space of a month. What we're seeing is one pegmatite that's thicker, shallower, and higher grade. So that's absolutely amazing for us, so we don't get the internal dilution, just like what we're seeing at Seymour. Now, it's extending east and it's extending west. If you go west, it's looking like it's going to connect to Morrison. So Morrison was another area where there's known LCT pegmatites with spodumene. They were drilled in 1950. So if these two connect, there's several kilometres of strike with high potential of locating these or joining these two together. And then you jump over to Root Bay. There's a large pegmatite there, LCT spodumene. I've been there, walked over the massive ridge. I said to the guys, right, go east-west and let's see what else we can find. And they've located additional pegmatites and spodumene crystals. One thing we're finding with the Root project is the density of the spodumene crystals is very high, which is giving it the better grade, which is great from a processing side. Now, as I say, Primero, one of the founding members of GT1, they're doing our scoping study or preliminary economic assessment, and we're highly advanced. You can see how many of those processes are now complete, and we'll be delivering that in Q1 next year. And bearing in mind that will be a vertically integrated scoping study, so all the way from exploration to a lithium hydroxide. We've kicked off network. So essentially, all of our samples have gone off to SGS Lakefield Lab in Ontario. They're converting that into a concentrate. We've already got some results back. We already know that's going to go high grade. So DMS and then flotation will be easily achievable. And then that will be converted into a hydroxide. So I guess this is a bit of a snapshot. Where are we going to end up? So drilling will never stop. We've got 40,000 hectares of ground. You know, we've got the 4 rigs on 2 sites. They will start to prove up all the resources on those 2 projects, and then we'll get additional rigs splintering off into all these other projects that we have, because we need a long-term supply chain. So we're not talking the 10 years. We're now looking what happens after 10 years, 20, 30 to 50 years. We're kicking off all the baseline studies, so that's already occurred for Seymour, and now that's occurring for Root. The assessment will come out, and that will just roll straight into a feasibility study. So with these studies, we're not just have a fence line where you go from scoping study to feasibility. A lot of the work we're doing right now is feasibility work. Straight into project construction, and then first concentrate 2025, and then first hydroxide in 2027. Now, speaking to the downstream producers, they reckon they can have that plant up and running a little bit sooner, so watch this space. So why North America? Right, the Americans have released the Inflation Reduction Act. That is where they're highly incentivizing everyone to get into production as soon as possible, and that involves not just the United States. They're now reaching over into Canada and say they will invest that money in Canada. So we're, okay, that's great. So the Canadian government have now turned around and they'll be releasing their own equivalent Inflation Reduction Act to invest specifically in Ontario, and that's where we come to the top of the list. So, yeah, what to expect. drilling results, baseline studies, expansion of the team, scoping study, bulk samples, everything that you need to know. Come and see me if you've got any questions. I've got a booth just outside. But yeah, we're moving very fast, and it's been an exciting time. Thank you.